All right, so it's time for the All-Star Game voting. So phase one is June 4th to June 26th. So the way this works is the top overall vote getter for each league automatically starts in the All-Star Game for their teams. And then for each position in the infield, you have 2 finalists, and then there will be another vote in phase 2. And for the outfield, you have 6 finalists for each league, and then you get to vote again for them. So I'm going to go through my ballot, and I'm also going to predict who I think, at least as of right now, will get those starting spots. Let's go talk about it. Let's start off with first base in the American League. And I think this one's interesting because I think you got a few guys here that could legitimately win this spot. You got some fan favorites like Paul Goldschmidt, Vlad Jr., Vinny Pasquantino, but then you got a couple other guys having some great years. Spencer Torkelson, he leads all first basemen in home runs with 15, 43 RBIs, solid 841 OPS. But then you got Jonathan Aranda, who's having a breakout year with the Rays, hitting 324, a 913 OPS overall. Now, he would get my vote, but I do wonder if he's going to end up winning it. Now, like I said, he's having a great year, hitting 324, 413 on base, a 500 on the slugging, a 167 WRC plus. I just wonder if he's going to get enough votes. That's where I look at Paul Goldschmidt. He's having a very good year. Remember last year, people are starting to think he was falling off. He was getting to the end of his career, but he went to the Yankees and he's been phenomenal, hitting 320, a 376 on base, a 478 on the slugging, a 141 WRC plus, 7 homers. He's been very good. And obviously, you got that Yankee fan base. He should get plenty of votes. I could definitely see that happening. And then don't forget about Vlad Jr. He's got all of Canada behind him. He's going to get a ton of votes there, but he's also just a star player in the game. I could see a lot of people voting for Vlad. Now, he's not having the same year that he was having last year. The power is a bit down. 423 on the slugging, 8 homers. He's not having a bad year. I just don't think, he should get it over some of these other guys. I think Aranda would be my pick for now. I wouldn't be upset at all if Goldschmidt got it too. I think either one of these guys, at least as of right now, should get it. But I'll give the edge to Aranda. Has the higher OPS. He's hitting 324, having a breakout year. But Goldschmidt, I wouldn't be mad at that either. On to the National League, and this is going to come down to 2 guys, Pete Alonso and Freddie Freeman. I think this one's going to be very close. Both are star players in the game. You got the polar bear, Pete Alonso, having a great year, hitting 298 with a 977 OPS, 15 homers, 57 RBIs. And then you got someone like Freddie Freeman, one of the best hitters in the game. He's hitting 361 for crying out loud. Now, he's not bringing as much power as Pete Alonso, has 9 homers, but still one of the best bats in the game. If I'm leaning one way here between Alonso and Freddie Freeman, I do like the power with Alonso. You know me, I like the long ball, but I gotta lean Freddie Freeman here. I just love that batting average. He has a high slugging to go along with it at 613. That's actually higher than Pete Alonso. So sure, maybe not more home runs, but he's getting a lot of extra base hits as well. So Freeman would be my pick, and his defense has been slightly better than Alonso, but I think this is going to go either way. My pick, though, would be Freddie Freeman. Now, I could also see Bryce Harper and Michael Busch getting some love. Now, obviously, Bryce Harper, one of the biggest stars in the game, having a solid year, and also Michael Busch has a 150 WRC plus on the year. I just don't think either of them are ahead of Freddie Freeman or Pete Alonso right now. I will say this, Bryce Harper, with the star power he has, if he gets really hot over the next couple of weeks, I can see him sneaking into that next round, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think either way, though, these two will find a way to make the All-Star game. On to second base in the American League, and there's not really a runaway favorite as of right now, but this could go a bunch of different ways, I think. You got Jose Altuve, a multiple-time All-Star. He's actually been playing a lot of left field this year. He's back at second base now, but when you take a look at the offensive numbers, they are down compared to what they've been in the past. Only has a 101 WRC plus. You got Jazz Chisholm. He's in the second base category, even though the Yankees are playing him at third base right now. But he's also missed a lot of time this year, only 34 games played. Then you got someone like Gleyber Torres with the Tigers, where he's not bringing a lot of power to the table, which I expected going to a more spacious ballpark at Comerica, but he's getting on base a lot. 377 on base, hitting 263, a 126 WRC plus, so he's been a pretty solid offensive player. Then you got someone like Brandon Lau with the Rays. He's having a pretty decent year overall, 12 homers. And then there's someone like Jackson Holliday, where I feel like he's flying under the radar right now, Now, the Orioles, they have been pretty bad up to this point. They have been a bit hot lately, but still, Billy Jackson Holiday, he's having a solid year. He's hitting 268, 320 on base, a 445 on the slugging, a 119 WRC plus, 8 homers. So, again, I feel like this can go in a bunch of different ways, but I'm going to go with Gleyber Torres. I really like what he's brought to that Tigers lineup. He's getting on base a ton. He's doing some damage, has a 126 WRC plus, so he has been productive. But again, I feel like this can go a bunch of different ways, right? Jazz has that big Yankee fan base behind him, but he's also a fan favorite, so I could definitely see him getting a lot of votes. Jose Altuve, of course, he's been a multiple-time All-Star. He has that name value with him. So for me, though, I'm going to go with Gleyber Torres, at least as of right now. On to the National League, and I think this is going to come down to 2 guys, Brendan Donovan or Ketel Marte. Now, as of right now, they're 1-2 in Fangraph wins above replacement. Both have had very good seasons. The one big difference, though, is Ketel Marte missed a lot of time with a hamstring injury. He's only at 37 games played, while Brendan Donovan is at 60. Again, both guys are putting up great numbers. Let's start off with Donovan, hitting 315, a 382 on base, 448 slugging, a 136 WRC plus, a 2.2 F4 overall, and he has played other positions. But when you look at Marte, I mean, look at these numbers that he's put up in 37 games. He's hitting 300, a 420 on base, a 623 on the slugging, a 185 WRC plus. Holy cow, those are great numbers in so many less games played. So I think it comes down to, at least as of right now, what do you value more? Do you value the big numbers in less games, or do you value the solid numbers in more games played? I think that's really what it comes down to. Now, at this point, right now, I would go with Brendan Donovan because he has been healthy all year. But I think by the time we get to the All-Star game, once we log a few more games here, I think Ketel Marte is going to end up being the starter. I mean, these numbers are just so good. OPS over 1,000 for crying out loud. He's been very productive. So again, give it a little bit more time here. I think Marte is going to be the pick, and I'm going to go with him. On to third base in the American League, and I think this also comes down to 2 guys. You got Jose Ramirez and Alex Bregman. Now, both guys have had phenomenal years, but the one big difference is that Bregman recently just injured his quad, and who knows when he's going to come back. It's probably looking like July. We'll see if he can come back before that, but I think that's really going to put the nail in the coffin for him here. He was having a great year up to this point with the Red Sox. He fit Fenway Park like a glove. His numbers were excellent, hitting 299, 385 on base, a 553 slugging, 11 homers, 35 RBIs, a 159 WRC plus before going down. And I think this paves the way for Jose Ramirez with Bregman on the shelf. He's having a phenomenal year. He's been red hot as of late, hitting 329, a 382 on base, a 544 on the slugging, a 158 WRC plus. He's also got 17 stolen bases. So honestly, I think even with Bregman, let's say he was healthy, I think this would be really close. But I think right now with Bregman on the shelf and, not really a timetable for when he's going to come back, I think you got to go with Jose Ramirez right now. This guy has been phenomenal. On to the National League, and I think this also comes down to 2 guys out west. You got Manny Machado and Matt Chapman. Now, both guys are having great years. Machado is having the better offensive year, hitting 316 compared to Chapman's 241, has a higher on base at 380, a higher slugging at 506, a better WRC plus at 152. Now, Chapman does have a couple of more home runs. Machado has a few more RBIs, and Chapman is having the better defensive year. Now, with me, I'm going to lean with Manny Machado. The offensive numbers are just better than Matt Chapman, and sure, the defense has been down, but he's been huge in the middle of the order for the Padres. I'm going to lean with Manny Machado, making it back to the All-Star game yet again. On to shortstop in the American League, and this one is very interesting to me. You got 3 guys that I think is going to come down to. You got Jeremy Pena, who I think is quietly having himself a great year. Is anyone talking about Jeremy Pena right now? I mean, look at these numbers, hitting 324, a 382 on base, 494 slugging, a 151 WRC plus, 9 homers, 12 stolen bases, great defense. Jeremy Pena having a heck of a year, and I'm not really hearing about it all that much. And then you also got Jacob Wilson, who's having a breakout year this year. I was a big fan of Jacob Wilson coming into the year, and look at these numbers. He's hitting 369. I mean, the guy, the way his batting stance is in the box, it's crazy, but it works for him so well. He's got an on base of 407, a 527 slugging. Sure, not as good as defense as Jeremy Pena or Bobby Witt, but these offensive numbers are great. And what I also love about Jacob Wilson is not a lot of people were high on the power coming into the year, but right now he's got 8 home runs. That's pretty decent overall. Jacob Wilson having a very good year, but then you got Bobby Witt Jr. This guy would have won the MVP last year if it wasn't for Aaron Judge and the freak season that he had. But Bobby Witt having a solid year, hitting 289, 350 on base, 486 slugging, 125 WRC plus. He's got 7 homers, 21 stolen bases. That's one of the highest in all of Major League Baseball. Great offensively, great defensively. I love Bobby Witt Jr. Now, for me in my ballot, I'm going to go with Jacob Wilson. I think this guy's just having a phenomenal year. Sure, not as good defensively as Jeremy Pena or Bobby Witt Jr., but offensively, this guy's been off the charts. He's hitting 369, a 167 WRC plus. Just a very good year for Jacob Wilson. He's going to get my vote, but will he end up winning it? I'm not so sure, right? Bobby Witt Jr., one of the top players in the game. He's a fan favorite. I feel like he's going to get a ton of votes, even though the numbers offensively aren't as good as Jacob Wilson. And another thing with Wilson that could hold him back here, he's on a bad A's team. You know, who knows what the fan base is even looking like there right now. So I just wonder if he's going to get enough votes. Now, also Jeremy Pena, I think he could be a dark horse on the Astros fan base. They are pretty solid. We'll see if he can get enough votes. Now, again, for me, I'm going to go with Wilson, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby Witt Jr. ends up winning this. On to the National League, and you got quite a few candidates here as well that have an argument. You got Francisco Lindor, you got Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Geraldo Perdomo. All of these guys are having great years. Now, if we look at the leaderboards on Fangraphs, Lindor leads the way right now in F4. Geraldo Perdomo right behind him. Not as good offensively, but he's been very good defensively this year. Trey Turner, he's having a solid year, and he's got 17 stolen bases. Now, with Mookie, he's actually playing some good defense at shortstop, but the offense is a bit down with him. Right, he's got a 120 WRC plus, OPS just under 800 overall. So, you know, stat wise, I'm not sure if Mookie deserves to be there, but he's got that huge fan base with the Dodgers. Obviously, he's a fan favorite in all of the games, so you know he's going to get votes. Now, for me personally, I'm going to go with Francisco Lindor. He's having such a good year at the plate, hitting 282, a 356 on base, 496 slugging, a 140 WRC plus, 14 homers, 11 stolen bases, solid defense. Sure, a little behind Geraldo Perdomo, but just an overall great year for Francisco Lindor. He's going to get my vote. On to catcher in the American League, and this one's easy. I'm going with Cal Riley. Holy cow, this guy's having a great year. Not only does he lead all American League catchers in F4, but he's one of the top players in all of baseball, only behind Aaron Judge at this point. Has a 4.0 wins above replacement, hitting 269, a 379 on base, a 634 slugging, a 186 WRC plus. He's got 24 home runs. That leads the major leagues right now. What the heck is going on with Cal Riley? And he's very good defensively behind the plate. No debate here. Cal Riley for the American League. On to the National League, and I think there's a few different ways you can go here. You got someone like Will Smith. He's having a great year at the plate, and he's been solid behind the plate. Gabriel Moreno, not quite as good offensively, but he's been excellent defensively. One of the top defensive catchers in the game, while also still providing something with the bat. Carson Kelly, holy cow, this guy's having a great year at the plate. He's got a 512 slugging, a 375 on base, a 151 WRC plus, 9 homers. You know, someone like Hunter Goodman, not great defensively, but he's got 10 homers on the year. And then, you know, Sean Murphy's in here as well. Now, batting average is only 219, but he's got a decent slugging at 461, a 117 WRC plus. I do find it funny, though, that someone like Drake Baldwin on the Braves, he's having a better year offensively, and he's also played a lot of catcher. He didn't get on the ballot, but Sean Murphy did. I don't know. Braves fans, let me know. Who do you think should be on the ballot here between Murphy and Baldwin? But my pick is going to be Will Smith. He's having a great year offensively. He's hitting 327, a 165 WRC plus. Great defense behind the plate. Not as good defensively as Moreno, but he's doing great back there with these offensive numbers. I think you got to go with Will Smith. And also, he's got that massive Dodger fan base behind him. I don't see how he's not going to win this vote. On to the American League outfield, and let's get the easy one out of the way first. Aaron Judge, I think, is going to be the leading vote getter in the American League. This guy is on pace for one of the best seasons of all time. I mean, look at these numbers. He's hitting 397, a 495 on base, a 759 slugging, a 244 WRC plus, 21 homers, a 5.4 F4 through 62 games, and I feel like no one is talking about it. This guy is having an amazing season. Right now, he's on pace for a 13.1 F4 season. That would put him second all-time, only behind Babe Ruth in 1923. I mean, this would put him in the likes among Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, Lou Gehrig, for crying out loud. And I feel like no one's talking about it. What the heck's going on here? For my next outfielder, I got Lawrence Butler with the A's. Like I said, the A's not having a great year overall, but there's a couple of bright spots. Jacob Wilson, who I talked about earlier, and Lawrence Butler's been very good, hitting 270, a 341 on base, a 471 slugging, a 130 WRC plus, 9 homers. He's got 10 stolen bases as well. Been very good at the plate. The defense has been a bit spotty for him, but I love what he's bringing to the plate here. Riley Green is my other pick for the American League outfield spot. A good year offensively. Did get off to a bit of a slow start, but he's been hitting very well as of late. Hitting 277, a 330 on base, 496 slugging, a 133 WRC plus, 13 homers. Him and Spencer Torkelson in that lineup have been fantastic. Really like what Riley Green's bringing to the table. Now, some other guys I can see getting some love. Trent Grisham, he's having a great year at the plate, mostly going up against right-handed pitching, but very productive. A 134 WRC plus, his best season offensively, and he's got the big Yankee fan base behind him, so I could see him getting a lot of votes. Julio Rodriguez, he's been pretty decent this year, one of the top young stars in the game. Very good defensively. Now, the offense hasn't been bad, but I just think these numbers, they're not really worthy of an all-star game spot as of right now. I could definitely still see him getting on the all-star team. Stephen Kwan, very good year offensively, hitting 306, 367 on base, 129 WRC plus, but to me, guys like Riley Green, Lawrence Butler, they're just doing better offensively right now. Cody Bellinger, he's been hitting very well as of late, has a 118 WRC plus, a 455 slugging. He is a fan favorite. Again, has the Yankee fan base behind him. I could see him getting some votes. And a couple of guys on the Red Sox as well. Cedar Rafaela, he's been amazing defensively. He has been hot lately with the bat, but I don't think he has the offensive numbers to get there. Wilyer Abreu did get off to a good start this year, has been cold over the last couple of weeks as a 478 slugging, 13 homers. Jaron Duran as well. I can see getting some votes. He's been red hot as of late, but that's going to be my starting outfield. I like Aaron Judge, Lawrence Butler, and Riley Green. On to the National League, and I'm going to go with Pete Crow Armstrong, Corbin Carroll, and Kyle Tucker. Pete Crow Armstrong, holy cow, what a year this guy's having. He actually leads all of Major League Baseball in Fangraph wins above replacement. He's doing very well at the plate, and he's one of the top defensive players in the game, hitting 278, a 314 on base, a 556 slugging, a 142 WRC plus, 16 homers, has over 20 stolen bases. Great defense out in center field. I think Pete Crow Armstrong is absolutely going to get a starting spot. Corbin Carroll, he's putting up some MVP numbers as well, hitting 259, 338 on base, 570 on the slugging, a 148 WRC plus, 18 homers, stealing a lot of bags as well with 10. Corbin Carroll, I think, he's also a fan favorite. I think he's going to get in there. And Kyle Tucker also having a great year with the Cubs. Let's see if they can sign him long term. But, look at these numbers at the plate, hitting 286, almost a 400 on base, a 526 slugging, 157 WRC plus, 12 homers. He's also stealing a lot of bases here. He's got so far 16. He's going to get himself a fat payday this coming offseason. Now, some other guys that I think will absolutely be in the mix. Fernando Tatis Jr., a fan favorite, having himself a good year with the Padres. James Wood is absolutely breaking out this year. I wonder if he could be a dark horse. He's been amazing with the Nationals. Andy Paez, he's having a solid year with the Dodgers, and like I've said, has a big fan base behind him. Let's see if maybe he could get in there. We'll have to see, but this is my outfield: Pete Crow Armstrong, Corbin Carroll, and Kyle Tucker. You got Juan Soto, one of the top stars in the game, has the biggest contract in Major League history, but the offensive numbers haven't been very good. I still think he finds his way onto the All-Star Game roster. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's a fan favorite, but he only just recently came back, has been hitting very well. I just don't know if it's going to be enough games played, but he's going to get a lot of votes. People love Ronald Acuna Jr. On to DH in the American League, and I got to go with Rafi Devers here. And sure, there's been all the drama with Rafi this year, moving off of third base after they signed Bregman, moving to DH, which he wasn't very happy with at first, but eventually warmed up to it. Didn't want to play first base after Tristan Casas went down. But when you take a look at the numbers offensively, this guy has been one of the best bats in the game this year. He's on pace for the best offensive season of his career, hitting 284, 407 on base, 514 slugging, a 154 WRC plus, 13 homers. He was red hot in the month of May. Sure, he did lose his protection with Alex Bregman, but he's still finding a way to produce here for this lineup, even though it's been very up and down. Rafi Devers, I think, should and will be the DH in the American League. And for the National League, this one's easy. It's going to be Shohei Ohtani, and it should be Shohei Ohtani. Another amazing season for Ohtani, hitting .294, 388 on base, 641 slugging, a 179 WRC plus, 23 homers. I think he's going to be the leading vote getter in the National League. It's Shohei freaking Ohtani. Who else would it be? I do see Ben Rice in the American League getting some love. He's having a pretty solid year at the plate. I think Kyle Schwarber will get a few votes, but these are the DHs I think: Shohei Ohtani and Rafi Devers. On to my starting pitchers. In the American League, I'm going to go with Tarek Skubal, and in the National League, I'm going to go with Paul Skeens. Now remember, Tarek Skubal did win the Cy Young last year, but he didn't start the All-Star game. That went to Corbin Burnes, and I think Skubal will get the nod this year. Another amazing season, 13 starts, ERA at 2.16, FIP at a 1.85. Very good strikeout to walk ratio with him this year. Now, Garrett Crochet, I think, will be heavily favored as well. He has a slightly better ERA at 1.98. FIP is higher at a 2.67. The difference is that Skubal is walking a lot less batters while still striking out right around the same. We'll see how it goes over the next month, but right now, I'm going to lean with Skubal, the reigning Cy Young winner. In the National League, I'm going to go with Paul Skeens, getting back-to-back nods. He's been amazing yet again. 13 starts, ERA at a 2.05, FIP at a 2.57. Now, the strikeouts are a little down compared to last year, but the walks are so low. He's not really giving up any home runs at all. Skeens, he's been amazing yet again. Now, for the National League, I could see Yoshinobu Yamamoto also being in consideration here. He's having a great year. ERA at 2.39, good amount of strikeouts as well. He's walking more batters than Paul Skeens, so that's where I'm going to lean with Skeens there. But Yamamoto, I could definitely see him getting the start too. So those are my early picks for the All-Star game. Let me know what you think down below. Who are you going to vote for? Tell me down below in the comments. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.